Hello, and thanks for joining Prism English.
At the end of each day, something happens to almost everyone. Your body begins to slow down, your shoulders feel heavy, your eyes want to close, even though your mind is still full of thoughts. You may have worked, studied, or worried all day long, and now, when the night arrives, you only want one thing: rest. But here is a strange question. What if this moment of rest could also become a moment of learning? What if the time when your body sleeps could become the time when your brain grows stronger in English? Think about it. Most people believe learning is only about active effort, sitting at a desk, reading books, repeating vocabulary, and practicing speaking. And yes, that is true. Effort is necessary. But there is also another secret, something that nature has given to us: the power of sleep. When you lie down in bed, your brain does not simply turn off like a light. Instead, it begins a new kind of work. It organizes, it cleans, and it connects. It takes the pieces of information you met during the day and carefully places them into memory. That is why sometimes you wake up in the morning and suddenly remember something you could not recall the day before. Your brain was working while you were sleeping. Now imagine this. You put on a pair of earphones, close your eyes, and let your favorite English story play in the background. You're too tired to study actively, but that is not a problem. You just listen, softly, gently, almost like listening to a lullaby. You fall asleep, and while you are sleeping, your mind is still hearing the rhythm, the words, the sounds. Slowly, quietly, without pressure, the English language begins to sink deeper inside you. This is not magic. It is not about waking up fluent overnight, but it is about using the natural rhythm of your body to help your brain. Just as water shapes stone over many years, sound shapes memory over many nights. Sleep becomes not only rest, but also a classroom, an invisible classroom, where you are both the student and the dreamer. So tonight, as you prepare for bed, ask yourself one question: why let this precious time go to waste? You can rest, and you can learn. You can dream, and you can grow. At the end of the day, when your body wants sleep, your brain can still choose English. Sleep is one of the most mysterious gifts of life. We spend almost 1/3 of our entire lifetime sleeping, yet many people think of it as lost time. They imagine that nothing important happens during sleep. But the truth is completely different. Sleep is not wasted. Sleep is powerful. When you fall asleep, your body begins a deep process of repair. Your muscles relax, your heartbeat slows, and your breathing becomes calm. But while the body rests, the brain becomes incredibly active. Inside your head, billions of tiny electrical signals travel between your neurons. They replay the experiences of the day, organize information, and create connections that did not exist before. This is why scientists say sleep is not just about resting, it is about learning. A new word, a new phrase, or even a sound that you hear during the day becomes stronger in your memory at night. It is almost like your brain has a secret library. During sleep, the librarian comes out, arranges the books, and places them neatly on the shelves. The next morning, you wake up, and the books are waiting for you, ready to be opened. Now, let us connect this to English learning. Imagine you listen to an English story before bed. You do not need to repeat it aloud. You do not need to push yourself to understand every single detail. Just relax and listen. Later, when you close your eyes, your brain takes over. The rhythm of the sentences, the melody of the words, the sound of the voice, all of these are quietly replayed in your mind. Without stress, without effort, you are creating stronger memory pathways. This is the secret power of sleep. It transforms passive listening into active learning. Many learners think they need to fight with grammar rules or struggle with textbooks late at night. But the truth is, sometimes the best way to learn is to simply let go. Put the pressure down. Trust your brain. Trust your sleep. Throughout history, great thinkers and artists have experienced this power. A scientist goes to bed with a problem and wakes up with an idea. A musician falls asleep after playing a melody and dreams of a new song. And now you too can use this natural ability to make English a part of your mind. So instead of thinking of night as the end of your learning, think of it as the beginning. Night is not the closing of the book. Night is the time when the invisible teacher arrives, your own brain, working silently in the dark, teaching you without you even knowing it. During the day, your brain is like a busy city. Cars rush through the streets, people hurry to work, and noises come from every corner. You are constantly receiving information, messages, conversations, sounds, lights, tasks, and worries. It is no surprise that learning English during the day often feels difficult. Your brain is already crowded. It has no room to breathe. But at night, something changes. The city becomes quiet. The streets are empty. The noise slowly disappears. In this silence, your brain finally has space to focus. It is no longer fighting for attention. It can give energy to the things that truly matter. And this is the reason why the brain learns best at night. When you sleep, your brain enters special cycles. In some stages, it processes memories. In others, it creates deep storage for new information. Scientists call this consolidation. Imagine you learned 5 new English words during the day. While you sleep, your brain takes these words and carefully builds strong bridges to connect them with the words you already know. Without sleep, those bridges remain weak. With sleep, they become strong and lasting. Another secret is that at night, your brain is more open to rhythm and sound. Have you noticed how a soft song can stay in your mind after you wake up? That is because your brain, while resting, pays special attention to patterns. Language is full of patterns. The rise and fall of intonation, the music of sentences, the repetition of key words. When you listen to English while sleeping, these patterns enter your mind like gentle waves. They do not disturb you, they simply surround you, slowly shaping your inner ear to recognize English more naturally. Think of children. They often fall asleep while their parents are telling them stories. The child is not awake to repeat every word, yet somehow, over time, the child grows up speaking the language perfectly. Why? Because the brain has always been listening, even in moments of half dream, half sleep. You can do the same with English. Of course, sleep learning is not about memorizing 1,000 words in one night. It is about building an environment where your brain can relax, absorb, and connect. At night, there are no phones ringing, no tasks waiting, no stress pressing on you. It is just you, your dreams, and the gentle voice of English guiding you into deeper knowledge. So remember this: the night is not your enemy in learning, it is your friend. It is the time when your brain works with you, not against you. By choosing to learn while you sleep, you are choosing to give your brain the best possible chance to succeed. Anna was a university student with big dreams. She wanted to study abroad, to travel, and to work in an international company. But there was one problem. Her English was weak. Every time she tried to read articles, she felt tired. Every time she tried to listen to lectures online, she missed half of the meaning. Her schedule was already full. She had classes in the morning, part-time work in the afternoon, and assignments at night. By the time she returned to her small dorm room, she was completely exhausted. She thought, how can I possibly find more time to study English? One evening, while scrolling on her phone, Anna discovered an idea that sounded almost too good to be true. Learn English while you sleep. At first, she laughed. How can anyone learn while sleeping? But curiosity grew inside her. She decided to try, because after all, she had nothing to lose. That night, Anna put her earphones in, chose a simple English story, and let it play on repeat. She didn't force herself to understand. She didn't sit up or take notes. She simply closed her eyes and allowed the voice to flow into her dreams. Within minutes, she was asleep. The next morning, something strange happened. As Anna brushed her teeth, she found herself whispering a sentence from the story. She didn't plan it, it just appeared. The words were not perfect, but the rhythm felt natural. She smiled, surprised by this little moment. It gave her hope. Encouraged, Anna made this a habit. Every night before bed, she chose a new recording. Sometimes a short story, sometimes a list of vocabulary, sometimes a conversation between two speakers. She didn't push herself too hard. She simply allowed English to become part of her nights. Weeks passed. Anna noticed small changes. In her morning classes, when teachers used certain words, they sounded familiar. When she watched English videos, she caught phrases more easily. It was as if her brain was slowly opening a new door. Her friends asked, "Anna, how are you improving your English when you're always so busy?" She just laughed and said, "I study in my dreams." Anna's story shows us something powerful. Learning English does not always require more hours of struggle. Sometimes it requires creativity. She used her nights not as wasted time, but as silent lessons. Step by step, word by word, she turned her exhaustion into an opportunity. And you can do the same. Like Anna, you can let English become the music of your sleep. You may not notice the change immediately, but over time, your mornings will be brighter, your words will come easier, and your confidence will grow stronger. The first night is always the most unforgettable. For Anna, it was filled with both doubt and curiosity. She wondered, will this really work, or am I just wasting time? Still, she decided to trust the process. She chose a short English story with a calm voice, nothing too fast, nothing too difficult. The story was about a little boy visiting the park with his dog. Simple, ordinary, yet filled with everyday words. Anna pressed play, placed her phone on the desk, and put on her earphones. At first, she lay in bed with her eyes open, listening carefully. She tried to catch every single word, but soon she realized she was too tired. Her eyelids grew heavy, her breathing slowed down, and slowly, without even noticing, she drifted into sleep. But something interesting happened. In her half-dream, she could still hear the voice. The sentences flowed in the background of her mind, like soft music playing in another room. She wasn't studying actively, yet the words painted gentle images in her imagination. She dreamed of walking in the park, of laughing children, of a happy dog. The English story had become part of her dream. When she woke up in the morning, Anna didn't feel like she had studied. She didn't feel pressure or stress or tiredness. But as she stretched and prepared for her day, she noticed a strange echo inside her mind. Phrases from the story repeated themselves, almost like a song stuck in her head. The boy threw the ball. The dog ran fast. The sun was shining. She whispered them quietly, almost without thinking. The words felt easier than before, as if they had been gently placed in her memory overnight. That first night taught Anna something important. Learning doesn't always need effort. Sometimes the best learning happens when you stop trying so hard. Her role was simple: to listen, to relax, and to trust her brain. The rest was automatic. Of course, she didn't become fluent overnight. No one does. But that morning, Anna carried a small victory. She realized that sleep learning was not about magic. It was about consistency. If one night could plant a few sentences in her memory, what could 1 month or 1 year create? And so her journey began. From that first night, she promised herself to continue. She didn't demand perfection. She didn't measure results too quickly. She simply repeated the habit, knowing that each night was another brick in the foundation of her English. Her first night of listening without effort became the first step of transformation. It was small but powerful. It proved that sometimes progress is not about pushing harder, but about flowing easier, like water shaping stone, drop by drop, night by night. Many people wonder, is sleep learning real, or is it just a dream? To answer this, we need to look at the science of the brain. When you sleep, your brain goes through different stages. The two most important ones are deep sleep and REM sleep, rapid eye movement sleep. In deep sleep, your body repairs itself, your muscles, your heart, your immune system. But in REM sleep, something magical happens. Your brain becomes highly active. This is the stage where most of your dreams appear, and it is also the stage where memory becomes stronger. Scientists call this process memory consolidation. Imagine your brain as a gardener. During the day, seeds of information are thrown randomly into the soil. At night, while you sleep, the gardener comes out. He waters the seeds, removes the weeds, and organizes the plants. Some seeds grow into strong trees. Others fade away. This is how your brain decides what to remember and what to forget. Now, here is where sleep learning becomes interesting. If you listen to English while falling asleep or during light sleep, your brain still receives sound signals. Even though you are not awake, the sound enters your sensory system. Your brain notices patterns, rhythms, and familiar words. It doesn't study the way you do when you're awake, but it strengthens the connections of what you have already learned. A study from Swiss scientists showed that students who listened to foreign vocabulary during sleep remembered more words the next day compared to those who didn't.
Another study from Germany found that melodies and language patterns played during sleep help learners recall phrases more easily. The conclusion is simple. Your sleeping brain is not silent, it is busy, and it listens. Of course, sleep learning has limits. You cannot expect to master grammar rules or write essays in your dreams, but you can improve recognition, pronunciation memory, and familiarity with English rhythm. Think of it as adding an extra layer to your daytime learning. Daytime is for effort, nighttime is for reinforcement. Together, they form a powerful partnership. For Anna, understanding this science gave her motivation. She realized she wasn't just wasting time with headphones at night. She was cooperating with her own biology. Her brain was like a factory working 24 hours a day, half in sunlight, half in moonlight. So, the next time you go to bed, remember, learning doesn't stop when you close your eyes. Deep inside your brain, millions of tiny connections are lighting up, replaying the sounds you heard, building invisible bridges between English and your memory. Sleep is not the end of the day, it is the secret workshop of the mind.
Repetition is the mother of learning. Everyone knows this truth. The more you repeat, the more you remember. But have you ever wondered why repetition is so powerful, especially when combined with sleep? Think of your brain as a path in the forest. The first time you learn a new English word, it is like walking through tall grass. The way is unclear, and you struggle to move forward. The second time, the grass bends a little. The third time, the path becomes easier to walk. After enough repetitions, the path turns into a clear road. That is memory. During the day, you repeat by reading, writing, or speaking. But at night, your brain also repeats, without you even knowing it. Scientists discovered that when we sleep, the brain replays information in short bursts. If you studied a word like gratitude during the day and then hear it again in your sleep, the brain strengthens the path. The road in your forest becomes wider, smoother, and harder to forget. This is why listening to English while you sleep is so effective. The words are repeated softly, over and over again, while your conscious mind is resting. You are not forcing it. You are not stressed. You are simply allowing the brain to do what it naturally does best: strengthen connections through repetition. Anna experienced this after her first week. She noticed that some phrases kept appearing in her mind, almost like a song that never left. She didn't plan to memorize them, they simply stuck. Why? Because every night while she slept, her brain had been walking the same paths again and again until they became highways. Another benefit of repetition during sleep is pronunciation memory. Even if you don't practice speaking out loud, your brain still records the rhythm and sound of the words. Repeated exposure helps your tongue and mouth feel more natural when you finally speak. That is why many people say, after listening to English at night, I don't just understand better, I sound better too. But remember, repetition is not about speed. You don't need to change the recording every night. In fact, using the same story or conversation for several nights is often more effective. The more your brain hears the same pattern, the deeper it goes into memory. So here is the secret.
Don't fight with repetition, embrace it. Just like a drop of water can shape a rock after many years, a simple phrase can become part of you after many nights. Sleep gives repetition its quiet power. Without pressure, without noise, it gently builds the roads of your English memory, step by step, night after night.
Dreams are one of the greatest mysteries of the human mind. Sometimes they are strange, sometimes they are beautiful, sometimes they are even frightening. But beyond the mystery, scientists agree on one thing: dreams are deeply connected to memory. When you dream, your brain takes fragments of your experiences and mixes them into stories. A face you saw on the bus, a word you read in a book, a sound you heard on the radio. All of these pieces can appear in your dreams. This is your brain's way of practicing, replaying, and reorganizing information. Now, imagine this. You fall asleep while listening to an English conversation. As you enter your dream, you suddenly hear voices speaking, not in your native language, but in English. Maybe the words are not perfect, maybe the grammar is not exact, but the sound is there, shaping your inner world. Your dream has become a classroom, and your memory is the teacher. Anna experienced this after several weeks of sleep learning. One morning, she woke up with a smile. She remembered a dream where she was sitting in a cafe, ordering coffee in English. The strange part? She had never practiced that situation in real life. The dream had created it for her, combining the words she heard at night with her own imagination. It was as if her brain was telling her, "See, you can do this." Dreams allow the brain to test new connections without fear. In real life, Anna might feel shy speaking English in public, but in her dream, there was no pressure, no embarrassment. The cafe waiter in her dream was patient. The conversation flowed naturally, and Anna felt confident. The dream gave her practice in a safe space, a hidden classroom only she could enter. This is the hidden teacher of sleep, the combination of memory and imagination. Memory provides the words, the sounds, and the sentences you have heard. Imagination creates the situation, the dialogue, the story. Together, they train your brain in ways you might not even realize. The next time you wake up from a dream, pay attention. Did you hear any English words? Did a phrase suddenly appear in your mind? That is not an accident. That is your brain practicing. That is your hidden teacher working while you rest. Dreams remind us of a simple truth. Learning is not limited to books, classrooms, or tests. Learning is life itself. It continues in the quiet of the night, in the silence of your sleep, in the colors of your dreams. By listening to English before bed, you are planting seeds. And in your dreams, those seeds can grow into conversations, stories, and confidence. Like every method, sleep learning has its strengths and its limits. Many learners feel excited when they first hear about it. They imagine a shortcut, a magical way to wake up fluent in English after just a few nights. But this is where mistakes begin. To truly benefit from sleep learning, you must understand what not to do. Mistake 1. Expecting miracles overnight. Some learners believe they will master English grammar or memorize thousands of words in their sleep. They wake up disappointed when nothing has changed. The truth is simple. Sleep learning is not magic. It is a gentle support system, not a replacement for active study.
You still need to practice speaking, reading, and writing during the day. Sleep learning works best as an assistant, not as the main teacher. Mistake 2. Choosing material that is too difficult. Imagine trying to listen to a complex scientific lecture in English while falling asleep. Your brain will not relax. It will feel stressed, confused, and restless. The goal of sleep learning is comfort, not pressure. Simple stories, short conversations, and clear pronunciation are the best. Remember, your sleeping brain loves patterns, not puzzles. Mistake 3. Playing the audio too loudly. Some people think that louder sound means stronger learning. In reality, loud audio can disturb your sleep, cause discomfort, and even wake you up. Sleep learning should be soft, like background music. The volume should be low enough that you almost forget it is there. Mistake 4. Constantly changing material. Another common mistake is switching to a new recording every night. Learners feel bored and want variety, but the brain thrives on repetition. If you use the same story for several nights, the words sink deeper into your memory. Changing too often prevents the brain from building strong connections. Mistake 5. Ignoring daytime practice. Some learners rely only on sleep learning and neglect active practice during the day. This is like watering a plant only at night and never giving it sunlight. Sleep learning strengthens what you already know, but it cannot replace speaking, writing, or studying. Daytime and nighttime learning must work together. Anna also made some of these mistakes at the beginning. She tried listening to complicated audiobooks, but she felt confused and tired. Later, she learned to keep it simple: children's stories, daily conversations, and vocabulary lists. She discovered that the key was not quantity, but quality. The lesson is clear. Sleep learning is not about doing more. It is about doing it right. Avoiding these mistakes will save you time, energy, and frustration. When you understand the limits, you can truly enjoy the benefits. So as you prepare for bed tonight, remember, don't chase miracles, don't fight with difficulty, and don't forget the importance of balance. Sleep learning is a gentle river, not a rushing storm. If you let it flow naturally, it will carry English into your memory night after night.
Creating a habit is the bridge between dreaming and achieving. Anna realized that listening to English at night only worked when she made it a consistent routine. One night of sleep learning could give her small benefits, but it was the repetition over weeks and months that transformed her English. The first step is choosing the right material. Simple stories, calm conversations, or vocabulary lists work best. Avoid complicated lectures or stressful content. Remember, your brain learns best when it is relaxed. Just like a gentle river carves a path in stone, simple and consistent exposure leaves lasting impressions in your memory. Next, set a fixed time every night. Anna decided to start her sleep learning routine 30 minutes before bed. She would dim the lights, place her phone on the desk, put on her earphones, and play a short story. The brain responds to consistency. By signaling the mind and body that this was the time for gentle listening, she trained her brain to be ready for learning without effort. Create a comfortable environment. Your body should feel relaxed. No bright lights, no loud noises, and no distractions. If the audio is too loud, it might wake you up. If the room is uncomfortable, your mind will focus on discomfort rather than absorbing English. Sleep learning works best when the body and mind are at ease. Anna also discovered the power of repetition. She often listened to the same recording for 3 or 4 nights. The same words, the same rhythm, the same sentences. Each night, her brain reinforced what it had heard the night before, slowly building strong memory connections. It was effortless yet powerful. Another key habit is reflection in the morning. Even if you do not speak English during sleep, spending a few minutes in the morning recalling words or phrases helps solidify memory. Anna would wake up, smile, and repeat a few sentences she remembered from her dreams or from the recording. This gentle reinforcement tied the night's learning to daytime consciousness. Finally, be patient and kind to yourself. Habits take time. Progress is often invisible at first. Anna didn't notice major improvements in the first few days, but by sticking to her nightly routine, she gradually felt more confident. Words came easier, listening felt natural, and her brain seemed more attuned to English sounds. Building a nightly English habit is more than just listening. It is creating a ritual that respects your mind and your sleep. It turns rest into growth, dreams into practice, and the quiet of the night into a hidden classroom. Step by step, night by night, you transform your English effortlessly, just like Anna. Sleep is no longer the end of learning. It is the beginning of a new, gentle, and powerful way to grow. And with a nightly habit, your brain becomes a lifelong teacher, guiding you quietly, persistently, and lovingly toward fluency. Sleep learning is a quiet process, almost invisible at first, but over time, the results become undeniable. Anna's story illustrates this transformation clearly. After several weeks of listening to English stories and conversations before bed, she began to notice subtle changes. Words she had heard at night started appearing in her thoughts during the day. Simple phrases, greetings, and sentences popped into her mind effortlessly. She didn't have to search for them. They came naturally. One day, Anna joined a small study group at her university. When the discussion turned to a familiar topic, she found herself speaking with confidence. She used phrases she had first heard while asleep. Her pronunciation was smoother, her rhythm more natural, and she even noticed she could understand classmates more easily. She realized that sleep learning had not just improved her listening, it had strengthened her speaking. Other learners report similar results. Sleep learning reinforces memory pathways, making recall faster and more accurate. When combined with daytime practice, it creates a powerful cycle. You listen at night, your brain consolidates the information, and during the day, you actively apply what you have absorbed. Words and phrases that once seemed foreign now feel familiar, ready to use in real conversations. Anna also experienced a boost in listening comprehension. English audio that once felt overwhelming suddenly became clearer. She could catch the rhythm of sentences, recognize familiar structures, and understand context without translating every word. Sleep learning had tuned her ear, preparing her mind to decode English effortlessly. Confidence is another hidden benefit. Many learners hesitate to speak because they fear mistakes, but sleep learning creates a silent, safe environment where the brain practices without judgment. By the time Anna spoke in real life, her brain was already comfortable with the language patterns. This comfort translated into confidence, allowing her to participate actively in discussions and even help classmates with vocabulary. The results are not instant, but they are lasting. Sleep learning strengthens foundations, supports retention, and enhances natural fluency over time. It turns passive listening into active potential, dreams into reality,
and nightly rest into tangible progress. Anna's journey demonstrates a simple truth. The path from sleep to speaking is not about shortcuts. It is about gentle, consistent reinforcement. It is about trusting your brain's natural rhythm, respecting your body's need for rest, and allowing learning to flow quietly in the background. By combining nightly listening with daily practice, real-life results are not just possible, they are inevitable. As the day comes to an end, your body grows heavy, your eyes begin to close, and your mind drifts toward rest. But now, you know that sleep is more than just rest. Sleep is an opportunity, a hidden classroom, a gentle path toward growth. Before you lay your head on the pillow tonight, take a moment to reflect. The world of English is not far away. It is not only in textbooks, classrooms, or online courses. It is also in the quiet of your bedroom, in the rhythm of words flowing softly through earphones, in the gentle repetition that your brain performs while you dream. Remember Anna's journey? She was tired, busy, and overwhelmed. Yet by trusting the natural rhythm of her sleep, she transformed small nightly habits into real-life fluency. The process was gradual, subtle, almost invisible, but in the end, it reshaped her confidence, her comprehension, and her ability to communicate. Tonight, you have the same chance. You can choose to let English enter your dreams, to let your subconscious mind become a patient teacher. Listen with calm curiosity. Repeat gently. Relax completely. Do not demand instant mastery. Learning at night is about consistency, patience, and trust. Imagine waking up tomorrow morning and hearing a sentence from the story you played last night echoing in your mind. Imagine the satisfaction of recognizing familiar phrases, remembering words you thought you had forgotten, or even speaking a sentence naturally without effort. These small victories accumulate over time, building the bridge between sleep and skill, dream and reality. One last thought before you close your eyes. Learning does not always have to be hard, stressful, or exhausting. Sometimes the most effective learning is quiet, effortless, and gentle. Sleep is not wasted time. It is a partner, a teacher, and a guide. By embracing sleep learning, you are not only giving your body the rest it deserves, you are giving your mind the tools it needs to grow, night by night, dream by dream. So tonight, lie down, take a deep breath, and let the soft sounds of English flow through you. Let your brain listen, imagine, and remember. Trust the invisible process working silently in the darkness. Let the night teach you, let the dreams guide you, and let the morning reveal the small, meaningful progress you have made. Sleep, rest, and learn. One night at a time, you're becoming stronger, wiser, and more fluent. And tomorrow, when the sun rises, your English will be there with you, quietly, patiently, and powerfully transformed.